Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe. A little background on the Telltale Heart. The Telltale Heart is a famous short story by American author Edgar Allan Poe. He first published the story in January 1843 in the short-lived Pioneer magazine. Telltale is about a nameless man who kills an old man for a really strange reason which we won't give away here. The nameless man tells the story of the murder to prove he is not insane. Poe was born January 19, 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts, to actors Elizabeth and David Poe, both of whom died before Poe's second birthday. Shortly thereafter, Poe moved to Virginia to live with the childless couple, John and Frances Allen. His biography has fascinated scholars and readers for a long time, and nobody can quite pin him down. Many scholars agree that he was a heavy drinker and was addicted to the drug laudanum. There is much gossip, speculation, and fabrication regarding the man's death, but he probably passed away as a result of drug and alcohol-related complications. He died October 13, 1849 at Church Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. Poe believed that a perfect story should be readable in one sitting, that it should be a tightly controlled, highly compressed narrative that hit on topics to which everybody can relate. Weighing in at 10 precise paragraphs, Telltale is an excellent example of Poe's theory of writing. For more, check out his essay, Philosophy of Composition. Setting: in the old man's house between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. Characters: the narrator, we never know his name, who's also the protagonist, the old man, the vulture eye, antagonist, and the police officers. Summary: a nameless person explains that he is and was extremely nervous, but is not and was not insane. Rather, the narrator has a disease which makes all of his senses, especially his hearing, very sensitive. To prove that he isn't insane, the narrator shares an event from his past. Let's jump into his tale. Summary continued. The narrator has an idea that he can't shake. He loves the old man and has nothing against him, except his horrible eye, which is pale blue with a film over it. The narrator hates the eye and decides to kill the old man to be free of it. To that end, the narrator goes to the old man's room every night at 12 a.m. for 7 days. Each night, the narrator opens the man's door and puts in a lantern, the kind they don't make anymore, with panels that can be adjusted to release more or less light. After the lantern, the narrator puts his head through the doorway extremely slowly, then opens the lantern so a tiny beam of light shines on the old man's eye. Each night the old man doesn't open his eyes, so the narrator feels that he can't kill him. On the 8th night, the old man hears the narrator at the door and wakes up. The narrator hangs out there in the dark for a long time, then with a scream plunges into the totally dark room, opening the lantern and shining light on the old man's eye. The narrator drags the old man, who only has screamed once, off the bed and then pulls the bed on top of the man. When the narrator hears the man's heart stop beating, he removes the bed and checks to make sure the old man is really dead, which he is. So the narrator cuts him up and hides his remains under the floor. Then 3 policemen come. A neighbor has heard the scream and called them. The narrator says he screamed while sleeping and claims that the old man is out of town. After convincing the cops nothing bad is going down, the narrator brings them into the old man's bedroom and they all sit down to chat. While they are all shooting the breeze, the narrator starts hearing a terrible ticking noise, which gets louder and louder until the narrator freaks out, confesses, and points the police to the old man's body, stating that the sound is coming from the old man's heart. Conflict. Narrator versus himself. He is crazy. External narrator versus vulture eye. The narrator wants to kill the vulture eye, not the old man. He justifies getting rid of the eye, even though he loves the old man. A little background on the old man's eye. The old man's eye is blue with a film or veil covering it. This could be a medical condition like a corneal ulcer, but symbolically it means that the characters have issues with their inner vision, what's commonly known as one's outlook on the world. They are stuck. Everything is obscured for them. Our reading of the story is likewise filtered through this hazy eye, causing at least some confusion and frustration with the text. The eye also does some pretty weird stuff. It seems dull and unseeing, and yet it has strange powers. It makes the narrator's blood run cold. It chills the very marrow in his bones. After hiding the old man's body, the narrator replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, the old man's, could have detected anything wrong. Interesting. The statement implies that at some point the eye could see hidden or secret things. The eye also seems to have a bodyguard, the heart. When the narrator trains the beam on the open eye, it causes the heart to beat an alert. When the policemen are there, the heart beats loudly to alert the cops, so the eye can see and be seen. The narrator is fixated on the vulture eye aspect of the old man's eye. He brings it up 3 times. Vultures prey on the sick or the dead, and they gorge themselves to the point of stupor. Whether or not the old man is a vulture-like person, we can't know, but that's what he symbolizes to the narrator. If vultures prey on the dead and almost dead, and the narrator is afraid of the vulture eye, does this mean the narrator is dead or almost dead? The irony, the narrator constantly expresses how he's not insane, yet his actions indicate otherwise. The theme? Guilt and innocence. The guilt of the narrator is a major theme in the Telltale Heart. The story is about a man, person, who, after killing a companion for no apparent reason, hears an interminable heartbeat and releases his overwhelming sense of guilt by shouting his confession to the police. Indeed, some early critics saw the story as a straightforward parable about self-betrayal by the criminal's conscience. Exposition. Setting. Inside a house between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. Characters. The narrator. Point of view. First person unreliable. Old man. The vulture eye is the antagonist of the story. And the police. Narrative hook would be, do you think I am mad? Which draws you deeper into the story. Rising action. Does not like the vulture eye. Justification. Loves the old man, but not his eye. Spies on the man at midnight for 7 nights. Awakens the man on the 8th night. Climax. Murders the old man. Following action. Feels proud of himself. Police come to question him. Narrator take police to the room with the body. Begins to get nervous because he hears a heart beating. Resolution. Confesses to the